welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Kennedy. Today I'm actually going to be talking to you guys about something that's a little bit more serious. I'm going to be kind of giving you guys my testimony, talking about how my struggles were coming into school and everything like that. But school starts in 2 weeks. We pretty much I have homework that I actually have to do, by the way. So I probably should get that done after I finish this video. But today, I really wanted to talk about just kind of some of the struggles that I dealt with starting a new school. I started a new school back in 6th grade when I moved to a new school district. So, and I know that for anyone who starts at a new school or just starts at any place new, it's really nerve-wracking because you don't know anybody and you're just trying to find a place where you fit in, and it can be a struggle. And for me it was a struggle, and I think most of the things that bothered me were I was very self-conscious about my physical appearance. And so I knew my entire life that I was kind of overweight and just I looked different than my friends and other people around me. So I kind of was a little bit self-conscious about that going into a new school year and everything like that. But when I started at a new school back in 6th grade, that really didn't bother me. I just wanted to find friends. I didn't want to be alone, and I wanted to have people that I could build relationships with starting over pretty much. And so my weight and my physical appearance, that really wasn't something that I focused on. It didn't really become a problem for me until I got to around 8th grade, which right before high school began, the end of 8th grade year, I pretty much started becoming emotionally engrossed in how I looked. I would sit there and just kind of stare in the mirror and be like, wow, I'm a little fluffy. When you're at that age of 13 and 14, you're kind of just changing everywhere. Your mind is changing, everything is just changing. And so you start to focus on other things, and that's kind of me. I was like, oh my, that's not okay. And I actually started to compare myself to other people physically. If I saw someone else looked different than me, I would compare myself to them, and then I would kind of look at myself and then point out different flaws. That's what I called them, flaws. I just started going down a list of things about myself that I did not like, because I felt like I wasn't supposed to be looking this way. And going back and thinking about that, it's really not okay to think that way, because God says in Psalms 1, hold on, I gotta read this. I like to write stuff down, but there's no desk right here, so I'm just kind of sitting. And so the Word of God says this in Psalms 139 and 14, I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and my soul knoweth right well. So it kind of just shows that no matter how you look, that is just a shell. So it doesn't matter about your physical appearance, because there's no one in this world that's like you. So remember that every one of us is created specifically for a purpose. And without you in this world, something would probably not function, because we all have a place. It's like we're all puzzle pieces. We all have a place. So without you, you really can't figure out what the puzzle is. That's why it's important to remember you are fearfully and wonderfully made. So when you get any thoughts from the devil, well, I call him the enemy because he doesn't really deserve a name, but when you get any thoughts from him that tell you that you don't look, you're ugly, all these negative feelings, remember and just yell that verse out. Be like, devil, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. So marvelous are the works of God. He created me uniquely for a purpose. So going back to my story, I'm rambling. But going on and continuing high school, I started to go to different doctors and actually try and figure out what was going on, because believe it or not, I actually would on the side exercise and like go to gyms and, you know, eat healthy like during the summer and everything, and I was just like, I'm not losing weight. I don't know what's happening. And it made me feel really bad because I was like, what am I doing wrong? And it made me feel even worse because I would go to doctors and they would talk to me about, make sure you're doing this, make sure you're, you know, eating your fruits and your vegetables and stuff. And I'm just like, I know that, but nothing's working. And on the side, by the way, my relationship with God was kind of like, I wouldn't say it was non-existent, but I did not actually think it was important to strive to have a relationship with God, because I remember one time I actually got down to pray and I actually demanded that God would like remove 100 pounds from me, which wasn't a logical prayer to have. I mean, it's okay to be passionate, but it's not okay to pray those types of prayers when out of anger and out of, I'm so mad at this, I don't like this, because I started to do that and it really pushed me away from who God was, because I had the wrong connotation of who he really was. And so I remember around that time I actually did not have a really strong bond with God as a person. And so that didn't help me either, because a lot of times when we're going through problems like this, where we have a constant struggle, whether it's a physical problem or an emotional problem or a mental, you know, you're at a really bad mental state and you want to, you know, have dominion over it, or you want to get some type of help for it. A lot of times when you go to the person God, who actually is the person who can help you out of those situations, but you're mad about it, a lot of times he will just sit there and just look at you and watch you act that way, because he's just like, is that who you really think I am? And a lot of times God will put you in situations to teach you that that is not who he is, and he will show you who he really is and how he can heal you from whatever problems you have. After spending a lot of time going to different doctors and trying to figure out what was wrong, I finally found a doctor, and she actually told me that the real problem with, you know, what was going on with me was that my body was not digesting sugars as fast as someone else's would, like a normal person's body. So, but I didn't know that, and so it was sort of a relief for me to find out that it wasn't really something that I had, you know, put upon myself. It was something that happened to just be, it was kind of random. It's kind of, it can be hereditary, but it's kind of random. And so that's kind of what happened. I went to the doctor and found that out, and I was like, okay, that's nice. And it really helped me, and it helped me also because after not being so angry about my physical appearance, my dad gave me that verse, which was Psalms 139 and 14, and I realized this honestly was never, you know, something that I should have been worried about in the first place, because in the beginning, God already created each and every one of us uniquely, and so I had no reason to really be upset about who I was and how I physically looked, or to feel insecure or anything like that. But it happens, and you know, it happens to a lot of people, and if it's happening with you, I want you to remember, and to always remember that verse, because it helped me to understand that no matter, you know, if you look at someone else, don't compare yourself to other people, because you're not that person and they're not you. You know, 9 times out of 10, they're probably wishing that, you know, they looked like you. Everyone can look at something and wish that they looked like something else or something, because you want something different, and you always sit there and you see something and you're just like, wow, I wish I looked like that, or I wish I had this. But in that, you forget what you already have, and you forget who you actually are, and you never embrace it. And so I forgot to actually embrace who I was, and actually thank God for making me I was, and uniquely, and you know, that I was healthy and I had nothing really seriously wrong. Because when you start to desire different things and be mad about different things, you'll forget what you should be thankful for. And so that's something that I learned as well. And then I really wanted to share that because I really been thinking about it, especially with school starting, because I know that that can be just like, oh my goodness, I don't want to go. But it's okay. It's my last year, so it's fine. God doesn't care about that. He cares about who you are on the inside. He cares about your heart, and that's all that's important to. That's all that should be important when we look upon other people, is to always find that we like that person for their personality, for their heart, and for the type of character that they have, because none of this is actually going to be eternal. This is all just a shell. Our spirit and our soul is what's actually eternal, what will last when everything else passes away. But yes, please stay tuned to my next video though, because it'll be kind of like a part 2 where I'll be talking about battling thoughts from the enemy, different things, and how those thoughts can weigh you down and make you just feel so many different emotions at once. And so that is something that I'll be talking about in my next video. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And also follow my Instagram if you want. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!